Hello, everybody. This is Brian Cromley from goldstandard.tv. Tonight is episode number 3. I am so excited to be here. I'm the host, Brian Cromley, aka known as the Golden Rock Star. I have a special guest that's going to be on with me this evening. I'll be bringing him on momentarily. But before I bring him on, I want to go ahead and just share a little bit quickly about my background. For those of you that don't know me, I'm originally from Mogadore, Ohio. Spent 8 years in the Marine Corps, 20 plus years in financial services, and almost 25 years in the networking arena. I'm originally from Ohio. I now currently live in Florida. Absolutely fell in love with the industry, absolutely love the industry, everything that it stands for: money freedom, time freedom, personal freedom, spiritual development, team camaraderie, the friendships that you make, everything that you can learn and grow with personal development and having the ability to make dreams become reality. Today, we're going to talk about many different things. We're going to talk about Gold Standard Bank. We're going to talk about things that have to do with everything with G99. But I have the great honor to introduce someone who's a very good friend of mine. I've had the privilege and honor to absolutely work with him over the last 7 years, but we've known each other for almost 16 or 17 years. And I get to introduce someone who's, our story is really unique, and I'm gonna let him share it because it's super fun. Without further ado, from McDonald, Ohio, I get to introduce my good friend, 17 years as an independent business owner, many years he'll share his story in the networking arena, high six-figure income earner, Mr. Brian Fisher. Brian, are you out there?
I am, Brian. Thank you for that introduction. For anybody that's watching this, you're already familiar with Brian Cromley and what a success story he's had to go from where he was at in the depths of financial crisis after 2008 to where he's at today. Just an unbelievable story. If you haven't seen his video, please get out there and watch it. But you all know, with the sister company we were involved in, you know, he earned a Rolex, earned a Mercedes. He's shown leadership skills that are very rarely found out there. But when you find them in the network marketing arena, you know, you want to latch hold of that and you want to ride that. So we all kind of understand the success he's had, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about the personal relationship that I have with Brian as I get into explaining who I am. So a little bit about me: I was a collegiate athlete. I ran track in college. I was a tradesman for Delphi Packard Electric division of General Motors. I did buy a restaurant that I owned for 17 years. I'm a local politician, and I'm a father of 3. And of all the things that I've done in my life, I'll tell you the one that brings the most joy and makes me the most proud is being the father. I know that's one of the things that Brian and I share in common, you know, our absolute love of family. But he wanted me to share my story, right? So my story in this particular business starts back around 2003. I was introduced to an opportunity that I really saw. I said, you know what? When you can earn money working with a team, when you can earn residual income through leveraging the efforts of other people, making money when you sleep, that's where you want to be. And I immediately saw it. It was a product that I said, you know what? I could get behind that. I understood it. And that's where I got my start. And I had some good mentors along the way, and it was an enjoyable ride. Sometimes companies don't work out for one reason or another. That particular company, they really thought they were going to be able to get into a field that they just couldn't break through regulatory standards, and it kind of fell apart, and I kind of drifted away from it. But interestingly enough, I got involved in another company only because the product was phenomenal, right? And I'm a people person. So the people that I met through these companies, I really formed great relationships. And one of the people that I made a great relationship with actually lives in Youngstown. I live in McDonald in Ohio. It's Northeast Ohio. So we live about maybe 7 or 8 miles apart. So it was great that we had a relationship. We could hang out outside of these travels that we make. And, you know, being the social guy that I am, I'm at Wayne's house one day, and he's on the phone. He's on the phone with Brian Cromley, as a matter of fact, and he says, hey,
I remember that day.
In the basement, I got to go work on my boiler or whatever he was doing. He says, here, talk to Brian. He hands me the phone. So I picked up the phone, and Brian immediately identifies the fact that he's from Mogadore. Well, if you're from Northeast Ohio, you know that Mogador and McDonald are playoff football high school rivals. We've met in the playoffs like 7 or 8 times. We're two of the most storied history football schools in Ohio, and we immediately had a connection. So it's interesting to note, you know, at a random meeting like this, we get to be friends, and we talked pretty frequently over the years, you know, once every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, month. It was something that we always communicated with each other, if for nothing else than to talk about high school sports. And so we fast forward quite a few years, and I'm going to say back in 2013, February 2013. Now, I have a little bit of a financial background. As I've told you what I've done in my life. I was looking into precious metals as an investment. And I went to Facebook. You know, Facebook's the greatest tool, right? So I go to Facebook and I tagged 10 of my friends. Brian happened to be one of them. And I asked them, you know, I'm looking at silver bullion. Do you think I should do that or like a company associated with that? And he tags me right back almost immediately and says, dude, if you're looking at that, you're going to love this. I'm buying gold by the gram and I'm getting shipped to me. And I immediately, like, bells were ringing. Now, that's something I want to know something about. Well, so quickly found out that it was a networking company, an affiliate marketing business. And I was like, I'm all over that. And I wanted to jump in. I kind of got a quick start there. And then all of a sudden, life just hit me a ton of bricks, right? I was in and out of the hospital like 7 times. I had 2 custody battles that, you know, were long and drawn out. You know, business was tough. I went through a couple of tough years, and anything and everything that could pull you away from the things that you really want to be doing they pulled me away. So the great thing about this kind of business is that networking continues to network even if you aren't there. So in a really roundabout way, I got out of my business. I sold it and went back to work in the maintenance field. And just by chance, I happened to get in an industrial accident and cut off a finger. Now, that's not the tragic part. That was actually probably one of the best things that ever happened to me because it enabled me to have some free time. But what happened was we were upgrading the facility that I worked in. It was a food facility, and we were tearing some things out. And somehow I got an infection that was related to some mold. And I never got it taken care of. But because I'd had this surgery, they thought I had an infection. I ran 104 fever for 7 days. But in the beginning, they thought, well, you know, you better come in and get checked. They said, it's not your hand. You got something else going on. So I end up in the hospital. The doctor comes in. He tells me, look, man, you got an infection completely surrounding your brain. And if that had been bacterial, you'd have died. And that was a real wake-up call because I had already called my mom earlier in the day and said, you know, you probably ought to keep your phone on in case you need to make a medical decision. I mean, it was pretty serious, even though we laugh about it now. And, you know, I joke about everything, but Brian Cromley's calling me that day. I'm late in the hospital. They got enough IVs and medicine in me that I'm half alert, and I answer the phone. So what's going on, man? He said, have you read your emails? Are you seeing anything I'm sending to you? And I said, well, now I'm kind of laying in the hospital dying. And he says, got real quiet. He said, well, that's terrible, and I'm sorry to hear that, but you got to go open up your emails. It was like the most encouraging, funny piece of thing that ever happened to me, right? So I go open up my emails, and interestingly enough, how I got to start here was looking at precious metals. Well, at that particular moment, I had seen some of my friends talking on Facebook about Bitcoin and some other things, and I really wanted to learn a lot about cryptocurrency because I started to see where things were progressing in the world. I thought, that's your next investment. Brian's like, we got a gold-backed cryptocurrency, and I have been out of the loop, and he's like, we got a deadline, and it's this week. So once I got out of the hospital, I got re-engaged, and, you know, I've seen some success with the business. You know, a lot of you may have seen me. I've presented a couple of world tour events that we had with the sister company. And so it's kind of cool that during all that time, Brian Cromley and I, even though we got this history together, had never met each other until 2018, where he came up to Meadville, Pennsylvania, and put on a presentation for some folks. And it's within an hour of my house. And I got to drive to meet him. So for the first time, we actually got to meet each other. And this is the
first time in 15 years, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was face to face.
But we talked on the phone like crazy.
But this is the part where I got to enjoy him as a leader because I got to know him as a friend first. And one of the things that I notice whenever I go to the events or whenever I'm building businesses, the fact that Brian always includes his team in everything. They get Airbnbs together when they go on these trips, and he gets them all together during the events. Everybody goes to eat dinner with each other. You're never by yourself. He goes out of his way to make sure everybody's included, and I've always appreciated that out of a leader, because you don't always see that. That's a rare quality to find in somebody. So, and I got to give it back to him. I know that was a really long-winded story of how we got to where we're at today, but that's how Brian and I got to be on this, we'll call it a TV show tonight.
Well, one thing I want to say to everybody that's watching this, for all the subscribers, building relationships is the most important thing. When you build a long-term relationship, the businesses always come. And that's one of the things you're going to see that we're going to teach, we're going to strategize on, we're going to share with you. And as you get to know some of the folks who I work with on a day-to-day basis, some are 17-year relationships, 20-year relationships, 25, 28, 35, and 38-year-long friendships. Friends do what friends do, and they build a business together. You focus on people, you inspire, you empower, and you build into them, the business comes. So I got 3 questions I want to ask Brian before we move on and get started. But tonight is a really, really good example of what we're going to be doing as a community and how we're going to help you learn the business, get comfortable in the business, and really accelerate in the business and move forward. So Brian, my first question for you, what are you most excited about when it comes to this type of business?
I'll tell you what, that's a great question. There's 2 parts to that answer. Number one, this type of business, which I already alluded to, is the fact that by building a team, you can leverage the efforts of other people and acquire wealth in doing so. Instead of Ray Kroc had an expression, he said, I'd rather have 1% of 100 people's efforts than 100% of my own.
Amen, brother.
Ray Kroc being the founder of McDonald's. Obviously, he understands a little bit about building business and success. So that's number one. I understood the power of networking. But the second thing is this particular business at this particular time. Now, a lot of us came from a sister company, and some of you are coming in new. We built the foundation of where this company is starting from for the last, Brian and I for the last 7 years, the company for the last 10 years. And, I got an opportunity to be in Germany in 2019 where they laid out the structure of how this company was going to run. And I was really excited to know that the things that are coming out were coming out because it really tied the whole project together. We went from precious metals to cryptocurrency, and now the biggest thing about cryptocurrency for all those years was people understood how exciting it was going to be, but there was no mass adoption and there was no real use for it other than trading on the markets. Well, now with what we are launching, with what other companies are launching, there's an actual utility. There's a use behind the cryptocurrency that we're involved with. And because of that, it should drive demand for our coin and increase the value of our assets. So where we're at today, I've been holding it inside since August of 2019 because I saw the vision at that time and I knew, man, if this happens, look out. We are all in for a ride. So that's what I'm the most excited about, that we're finally seeing the fruition of this, the concept, the dream of where we were headed.
Exactly. Our time has come and the time is now. My question that is number 2, what's one piece of advice that you, Brian Fisher, would give to any affiliates or anyone new that's a member that's looking at this, or anybody that's already part of our project and program?
Sure, and that's an interesting question too, because I kind of hit on that a little bit during the introduction, and the fact that I took a bunch of years off because life punched me in the face, and I came back, and this company built itself, my team, your team, my team built itself without me being there, is you never, ever give up. There are statistics out there in network marketing arena, and one of them says if you can hang in there for 3 years, you will have success in this business. The problem is when people get started, they're really excited and they do all of the things they're not supposed to do. There are psychological reasons why we teach people to build the business the way that they do, but because of your excitement, you do all the things you're not supposed to do, and you're not always real successful.
That was me, Brian, when I first started.
Right. So you're not always real successful out of the gate, but if you can follow a system and hang in there, statistics say that you'll see the success. And with what we have coming, there's multiple ways to be successful. So, just hang in there, pay attention to the lessons, take them to heart, and try to work the system the best that you can.
Absolutely. And it's all about what Brian's saying about plugging into the system, following the lead of the leaders and letting them direct you, help you cultivate, harvest, but always, always progressing and moving forward. My final and third question, and this is probably going to be one of the most important questions, because this here is going to give folks an idea of what's potential, both in opportunity, both in business, professional, and also in a personal aspect. So Brian, my third question for you tonight, how has your life changed since joining the business and the industry?
Wow.
This business
What a powerful question here. So the first thing is that you've heard the part where I was in the hospital and I had been working back in maintenance. I've got a chance with this company to travel the world at this point, and not a lot of people get an opportunity to do that. I've become free with my time, which is another situation most people never get to taste. But I'll tell you the most important thing that's happened to me, and the biggest thing, the most exciting thing, and it's interesting that Brian's the one that brought me on the call here, because I met my wife through this company. And unfortunately, at the time, she's 9,000 miles away. She's stuck in another country. But Brian introduced us in Dubai, of all places, at an event with our sister company. So you'll hear a lot of people talk about some spiritual things. I can tell you that there were some things that happened in my life that absolutely led me to this point today. And I do not think that that happened by accident. So if I'm asked, what was the biggest thing that happened? I mean, I met the person I'm going to spend the rest of my life with, and I met her through one of my great friends and a leader in this company. And with what I've seen, I just think we're all sitting in the right place at the right time for maybe the first time.
Awesome. Awesome. So Brian, let's go ahead and jump in. So folks, we gave you a little introduction on us. Brian gave you an introduction on him and a little bit of his background, his story. You heard a little bit of my story. Now we're going to get into some things that are all going to tie in from our stories to what we're going to share and the most important components of this evening. Number one, we're going to talk about the corporate call. We had the privilege and honor to be on an exclusive private call today. I know Brian's got some very, very exciting things he wants to share, but for me, it was just absolutely incredible to be invited on a call that's part of a launch of a company, of a community that's already in unity, that's getting ready to be an explosive mass adoption to the homes, to the people in our country and countries in every continent around the world. So no matter where you are watching this from, the United States, India, Australia, New Zealand, China, Japan, Vietnam, Brazil, Mexico, anywhere from around the world in 207 countries, we are going to tell you how important the information is that we learned today and why you get a chance also in 2 days to see what we've seen on Saturday. So with that being said, I'm going to let Brian share his excitement because he had an opportunity to be on the corporate call, and I want you to get him to share some of the nuggets that he pulled from that this afternoon, and then we're going to go into the next slide.
Yeah, absolutely, Brian. I mean, the big thing about the corporate call, no matter how good of a job we as leaders do, we're still just leaders of an affiliate business, where the corporate call gave us an option to hear from Alex Kokenjau. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. I'm not real good in Romania, but Kokenjau. So, being the technical expert that he is, he can explain things in a way that I don't think any of us have the expertise to relay to anybody else. So it's valuable information that you have to have. It's vital to doing this business, first of all. But to hear from Joseph Pike, the chairman of the board, and his vision and where he sees us going, I don't think anybody else can quite put it into the same terms, because let's face it, he's the one that created this baby, right? So we're all excited, and we think that we can help be leaders in this company, but the corporate call is absolutely vital. Number one, again, you learn who the leaders are. You hear their perspectives. Everybody's perspective is a little unique, and the fact that, everybody needs to hear something differently, and they hear it one person might really relate to them better than one of the other leaders. So it's nice to hear a variety of leaders. But again, to hear from the corporate team in detail on exactly what's going on with our project and the details involved and where we're headed. I mean, it's just an absolute invaluable tool. And everybody really, if you're going to take a business seriously, and as a former brick and mortar business owner, you know, I didn't throw down $70,000 to say, oh, we're just going to see how it goes today. No, I took that serious. You know, I did my homework. I talked to other leaders in the industry. I tried to learn as much as I can to be able to move forward with the launch of my business.
Awesome. And that's going to bring us to the virtual Super Saturday, which is Saturday, November 28th at 8 p.m. Central Eastern Time. For those of you in North America, that's 2 p.m. Eastern. Why is that important? Events are where you get belief. Events are where you get conviction. Events are where you get to hear other speakers and leaders and learn all nuances. And I can tell you, for me personally, if someone wouldn't have invited me to an event 25 years ago and I went kicking, screaming, I didn't want to go, I was not interested in going, I had the mindset of my way or the highway, I thought I was always correct. Somebody might be able to relate with that. I was a very stubborn person at that time. I did not want to go. So if you're somebody who doesn't want to go, I didn't want to go either, but I went. And because of that, I'm in this industry 25 years later. And the relationships that I've developed and created and kindled all through those years has given me an opportunity to be able to do things that most people only dream about. I mean, I get to travel the world with the friends. I get to build a business with my friends. I get to watch my friends accelerate. And it was all because I went to an event. And our whole philosophy in this industry and mindset is events, build from events to events to events. If you happen to have missed the corporate call today, well, on Saturday, you get a second chance. And don't just come and observe it and watch it by yourself. Invite 5 people, 10 people, 12 people. The goal, we'd like to have 5,000 people on the Saturday event just from us inviting it. So with that being said, Brian, why do you think it's important, and what has events done for you, and why do you think events are important?
Well, I'll tell you, you know, at this point when I got involved in this particular business, I'd already had some previous experience. So I'm going to draw from that previous experience. There's an expression, fake it till you make it. Not everybody out there that's going to see this video has a lot of experience in affiliate marketing, network marketing, whatever you want to call it, relationship marketing, direct marketing. So you want to use the tools at your disposal. Now, I already started off with the fact that I was a tradesman for a division of General Motors. Now, as a tradesman, I had to use tools. So these events that we have are the tools at our disposal to learn the system, to learn how to relate to people as you're marketing this. You know, Brian does a coaching call every Friday night. You know, there's an open mic call every Wednesday with leaders of our sister company. You know, we've already talked about the corporate calls that are going on. Now this YouTube channel. These are invaluable tools to be able to learn this business until you become the seasoned veteran like Brian is, till you can talk to everybody as it flows naturally instead of trying to, you know, act like a robot with a script. That's why these events are important.
Awesome, awesome. So that brings us to the GSPartners launch checklist. And I'm going to go through this with Brian. One of the things on the checklist is, one, creating an account at goldstandardtrade.exchange, gstrade.exchange. Very important. Anybody and everybody can go there, set up a free account, upload your KYC documents to gstrade.exchange, and once you reach gold level, KYC approval, you're going to get for free 999 G99 coins. Why is that important? Let's turn back the hands of time 10 years ago. If somebody would have came to you, Brian, and said, hey, you set up a free account and you're going to get 999 free Bitcoins. Today, fast forward to today, 10 years, that would be worth $187 million. Would we have known that? No. So we, as community and members, get the ability to have 999 free G99 coins deposit into your wallet. As they grow for the future, what if that happens to be 1% or 10% or 0.5% of what Bitcoin is? That's pretty exciting. Brian, you want to go through the next couple?
Absolutely. So, you know, obviously to get started, those are very important steps. I know sometimes if you don't know what a KYC is, very easy. It's a know your customer. it's the same thing as getting a driver's license or a bank account or anything like that. You just have to show proof of who you are and proof of address. I mean, these are very easy things that every company in the world now is going in this direction. And it's nice, though, if we've already signed up with GS Trade, it will automatically switch over to all the partner companies, so we don't have to resubmit those. Awesome, awesome. So to get your GS partner account, we already know how to set it up, right? We're giving you instructions. So really, we're teaching you. This is the important part because this is a global launch of a business, right? We are in the business of cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. I mean, the blockchain, if you don't know by now, is the technology that's going to lead us into the future for the next decade or decades for two reasons. Number one, for privacy, and number two, for security. Because you've all heard stories out there of people getting hacked, corporate espionage, stuff like that. So that is what we're building upon. That's the foundation we're building upon. But we're telling you to put between 150 to 1,050 US dollars worth of Bitcoin into your account, because at this point now we are a cryptocurrency company, and that's how we're going to operate is on cryptocurrency. And if you've looked at any of the experts' analysis of what's happening, I can tell you offhand that JP Morgan Chase Bank had put a 6-figure price target on Bitcoin in the next 12 months. And somebody from one of the executives from Chase came out last week, or not Chase, Citigroup came out last week and said that next December in 2021, his price target was $318,000. So I hope that gives everybody kind of an idea of where cryptocurrency is heading. But the reason why we're telling you to put this amount of Bitcoin in your account is since this is a global launch, we're launching this business. This is going to be your business. Again, I owned a brick and mortar. I had $70,000 in before I ever had day one of the doors opening. Well, this is your business opening, your grand opening. So you're going to get an opportunity to set up an account. Now, there's going to be some things that you're going to get with that account, but one of them just happens to be the face value worth of the coin that the company has in a pool that they're allowed to give out as a reward. And they're going to give you that as a sign-up reward, just like a lot of the banks now send you, hey, sign up an account and we'll give you $200 free, right? So that's what this is. We're going to put down some money into an account, and they're going to reward us for that, not only in a monetary way, but also with the services that they offer. And if you think about it, every bank account out there has some fees. Basically, these are our fees, right? But this is an opportunity to make money. It's not just a fee. It's a fee with the ability to make money. So you're going to use this. Go ahead, Brad.
One of the things that's going to allow you also to buy the gold standard partner packages using the Bitcoin.
Right. So the biggest thing is here, since this is a launch of a global business, and now we're going to consider ourselves leaders, right? You have to become the leader. You're going to teach your team to do the exact same thing you are. So basically, you're just teaching them 3 really easy things. Set up their account with their KYCs, fund their account, and then it's a step-by-step process you can learn on YouTube, how to buy Bitcoin and move it. And then, of course, purchase a package.
And that's going to lead us to strategizing. Everything you do is about strategy. So we're giving you a map, a direction, and a strategy. So as you strategize and you're out there strategizing with your team members and strategizing for Saturday and the rollout and the launch, this is going to help you to be more effective as you're inviting others to take a look at what we're doing. And when you're inviting, as Brian invites, I invite, we all invite, we're inviting you to let people see and participate in the YouTube channel. But we're also inviting you to secure yourself and be ready for the Super Saturday on November 28th, and so you can be part of that launch. You have to be the leader. And Brian, I'm going to let you talk about that because you've been a great example of that in the business, leading people to the information and leading them to the event.
Sure. So I'm going to take probably a little more than a minute to talk about this. So if you listen to what my background was, right, I was a college athlete, so I understood work ethic. I was a tradesman, so I understood building blocks. You have to learn one principle before you the other. I was a business owner, so I understood the long hours and the responsibility. Becoming a politician, I learned some leadership skills along the way. And as a father, I learned empathy. So you got to take your life lessons, the things that you've learned over your life, and use them to become a leader in this business. Your strengths, sometimes your weaknesses in life become your strengths because you learned the hard lessons. So as you lead your team, just remember a couple things. I mean, we're going to teach you principles that you can use that will build this business. Statistically and psychologically, it says that it will. But again, you have to remember your life lessons of empathy, leadership, long hours, even graduation, high school and college. It took dedication. So just remember those things. That the business is no different than the rest of your life. It's built upon all of those principles that I just talked about.
And that leads us into vision. And we're both going to share about vision. Vision is something that is the ability to see beyond what's right there in front of you. And you got to be able to see the vision. And when you're out there sharing and you're out there making contacts to invite people for an event, some are going to see the vision. Unfortunately, some are not. But the dreamers will. Those who are dreamers are going to see this vision, and they're going to want to be a part of this vision. And the vision and mission work hand in hand, just as the unity with community works hand in hand, just as the goals, the dreams with the progressive realization of a worthwhile defined vision and dream. That's where things become mass adoption. And that's how we're going to get this message out to the marketplace. Brian, anything you want to ad-lib with me, share with me on that also?
I think you hit it all, except, the only thing I would add is, when you talk about vision, all the things that Brian said, plus the fact that at this point in time with the business that we're in, you just have to be able to see the vision of where this company is going to go. There is a vision of concepts that are coming through to fruition. So you have to buy in to that vision. We can't just shoot from the hip. You got to buy in.
Absolutely. And that brings us up to experience. One of the great things about the council, there's over 124 years of experience on the council, people that are help leading the company. Right here on this call tonight, you have almost 40 years of experience in the industry. Some good, some not so good, some great, a lot of victories, a lot of defeats, but most importantly, wisdom comes from experience. Experience ties into wisdom. Our wisdom from our ups and our downs, our good, our bad, our ugly, our indifferent, the things we've learned is going to help you go through the things that we've already made the experiences through that can help you. But most importantly, it also is going to enable you, and this is what I love about this industry, the experiences you can share together as friends, community. Like Brian said, we've had the privilege to go to Dubai together. We've went to South Africa together. We've been all over the world because of the experience of this industry. And I know Brian had something he wanted to share on that also.
Yeah, Brian's pretty much hitting it on the head, but again, the experience, good and bad, you just have to draw from that to build, because sometimes, again, if you have a bad experience, well, you know what not to do. If you have a good experience, you know to repeat it. And those are the lessons that you can teach people. So when you explain to them, don't do it that way, you can explain why not to do it that way. Or when you can't explain things that happen in a positive way, you can say, hey, man, I did this and it went well, right? So we draw from experience.
That's right. And that comes up to repeat, which is basically repetition is the mother of all skill. And when you put strategize, invite, lead, vision, experience, repeat, and you take the first letter, that creates silver. Silver is one of our products that you're going to get a chance to be able to share and acquire. Just as episode number 2, we were talking about gold. We have silver, gold, and diamonds. So it's so exciting. But one of the next things I want to go into, and just real briefly, I'm going to hit the airdrop. Anyone can get 999 free G99 tokens, which I've already talked about, just by going into the gstrade.exchange. Register your free account at gstrade.exchange, upload your KYCs. After reaching the gold level, they will reward you with 999 free G99s. Tell this to your friends, your family, everybody, folks, everyone you know. You should help them get 999 free G99 coins. Talk about this on social media. It's a great way to create, connect, and meet new people that's interested in an ecosystem, that's interested in home-based business, that's interested in having a lot of freedom, and who has a dream. Me and Brian are going to really hit this one hard. On Saturday, well, actually, this is about the 15th. On December the 15th, we'll be rolling out the products. We're going to be doing the price maker strategy, but we're also encouraging everybody as a community to have a Twitter rally on the December 15th. Use the symbol hashtag G99 Rising. We are going to make the G99 token trend like you've never seen it before. We're going to be the #1 Twitter product idea concept on the platform worldwide. And I know Brian is super excited about that because Twitter reaches millions and millions. And if we all do this, tens of thousands of us, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 on the 15th do that. And everybody we invite to hashtag G99 Rising. Brian, what's the potential of that for us as driving the project?
Well, I know a lot of people out there might not even have Twitter. You really got to get engaged. Social media, if you want to build this business, is essential for a lot of reasons. #1, for team building, because you keep in contact, you can pass good tools. But #2, the way social media works and the way things trend, when you have thousands of people out there all hitting the hashtag G99 Rising, it starts to show up on people's walls, and they're going to click on it because they're going to have curiosity as to what it is. You know, as you're building business, this is a tool, right? We already talked about the tools. You know, it's funny because Brian will tell you flat out, when I first got re-involved, I didn't know anything about the technology of this business. Nita will tell you that I didn't know anything about the technology of this business because I had to call him for everything. But one day, I just decided I'm going to be a leader and I'm going to learn it. Well, I think everybody that has been around would probably tell you I'm one of the more skilled people now in this area because I decided, you know what, I'm going to learn it. Because when I started to follow these things like Twitter, for example, I learned a lot about cryptocurrency from the people that I follow on Twitter. These are experts. These are renowned experts that everybody considers experts, like the Winklevoss twins, you know, the ones that were supposed to be founders of Facebook. You know, I follow those guys, and they're crypto experts. So I learned a lot about these hashtags and the fact that it drives the message. So these are important lessons to learn to build our business. Together, we will succeed.
Absolutely. And that's the great thing. You're going to see so many different types of leaders, but we as the community really want to help you be the best you can be. Everything you're seeing is sponsored by thecarrothosting.com, domains for landing pages, custom website solutions, custom IT services, email services, nodes, VPS hosting. This platform actually has helped over 100 node holders set up their master nodes in the ecosystem. And as you can see, they got websites for $11.99. Now, I want to encourage all the subscribers to subscribe and share this to everybody you know, because every episode that we do is going to have different content to help you grow, to help you learn, to help you have a system, a map, a strategy, but most importantly, for you to have success in your business, success with your teams, to impact into your teams, to influence into your teams, and to increase into your teams. What does that do for you and your families? That impacts, increases, and influences your level of prosperity. Before we finish up, Brian's going to take a few minutes and share some closing comments, and I'm going to have a few closing comments. And again, I just want to welcome all the new subscribers, and I want to congratulate all the subscribers who are subscribing to learn all this great information to help you go from point A to point Z, from getting started to being on top of the mountain, to building an abundance of wealth for you and your families, to having a blessing beyond your most imaginable thoughts. And remember, you are blessed beyond measure, and this will give you that opportunity, the freedom in every aspect. So Brian, before we finish.
Yeah, absolutely. First thing I want to say is, thanks for having me on the call. I'm really excited about this TV channel. It's something I've always been interested in, but now we actually get another project through to fruition, right? It's another thing that I get to be involved with that I always wanted to do. And Brian's made that happen. It's interesting, and I very much enjoy the fact that I'm actually the first guest on the TV series here. I did say yes to Brian first as a business builder, and with our friendship, I kind of feel honored in the fact that I was called on here first. So I'm having a good time with it. I like to poke a little fun at Brian. We have a good time with this. And but the biggest thing I got to say, and I think we both said it, one of the things about sharing, right? We want to get the message out there.
That's right.
We all need to become leaders. I've already said this previously, but I didn't really expound on this, right? Again, 2.5 years ago when I got re-engaged, and I was really frustrated because I didn't understand the technology. I was having a hard time, KYCs, all that stuff that I was never familiar with. We get it. A lot of the stuff is frustrating because you've never seen it before. But like me, if you want to be a business builder, a business owner, right? Take ownership of this. You've got to say to yourself, like I did, I'm going to become a leader and I'm going to learn how to do this. You're the only thing standing in your way of success. What the limitations that you place upon yourself are going to be the limitations you have in this business. So again, the other reason to really become a leader in this business is not because it's going to alter your income ability, but also the success of this whole project depends upon the people who see this, the people who are with us during launch and get involved with us afterwards. Our activity is going to be what drives this company and the success of this coin. The more people who use this, the more exposure surrounds itself with this project, the more valuable this coin is going to become. And as the information rolls out over the next couple of weeks with our products and services, you're going to understand how the value is going to be built. So again, dig deep, become a leader, read, learn, engage in the tools that we're giving you. They will all help your long-term success, and we can all be happy and enjoy each other's companies as we run and get to go to these events, and we all sit back and drink and high five and have a good time. I mean, that's, if I could give you my experience in the last 2.5 years in a 3-minute video, I don't know who wouldn't want to jump on that. There's experiences that I just possibly can't put into words. And again, it all starts with you saying, I'm going to become a leader.
Awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to personally thank Brian Fisher, Mr. Brian Fisher from McDonald, Ohio, for being on tonight. Great information, great nuggets. Ladies and gentlemen, for circumstances to change, you must change. The day you make that decision and the moments of that decision, you can create a complete different destiny for you and your families. So with that being said, my name is Brian Cromley. This is Mr. Brian Fisher. We want to thank you for participating tonight on the goldstandard.tv. I want to welcome you. I want to encourage you. I want to uplift you. And I want to see you at one of the next upcoming events. And with that being said, you have a wonderful evening. God bless. The Golden Rock Star.